Friends, today we will discuss about the divisions or the vargas and the very common application of it. There is a lot of information in the classics and too much of information outside the classics, some of which is derived logically out of the principles from the classics, and some are just, what do you call this, cock and bull stories. Okay. Now, in principle, what you use the vargas for, vargas means the divisions of a sine. So, a sine of 30 degrees is divided into two parts. You get hora. It's in three parts. You get Drekkan or Dreshkan, as people use in D3. Then in 9 parts is Navamsa and so on, right? So, the general meaning you all know, in all probability, I think. The application is where I just want to have a quick word today at a top level. Okay, the most fundamental use of this vargas is how a planet or any important point in the sky, how is it placed in different vargas, like Navamsa, Dashamsh, or whatever. Dashamsh is again part of the Dashavarga system, not in Shadvarga, right? So I will use the ones which are used in all the systems, that is Navamsh and Dreshkan, that is D3. So you must look at every planet's occupation in the Varga. Okay, what division means, who is the lord of the sign in which a planet is placed in Navamsh or Dreshkan and so on. Okay. Now, there is a structure in every chart, something that I've been talking about for quite some time now. Every chart has to follow a structure, the structure between sun and the moon that I spoke about recently. The structure, the way the planets are organized across the Kendras, the Banfar and Apocalypse, that is succinent and cadent houses, right? So that is how you look at the structure. Then there are something called Nabhas yogas, considering the number of planets in various signs and so on. Okay, so that is the structure I'm talking of. So what we will talk specifically today is the rising sign. The rising sign and the ascendant degree, okay, the rising degrees in which Navamsha and which Dreshkan it falls, and what is the first application of that. So this information is hiding in our classics in different places, in different words. But the chapter on Vargas, okay, in Faldipika comes very close to clearly stating it, the application of it. Though the placement of rising degree in specific Varga is detailed out in Varamihir's Brihad Jatak and even in Saravali, okay. But that is something, a very pictorial representation, the way Varamihir has done. So if I want a very practical application, which is there in all the classics, as I said, hidden, is like this. How do I use the fact that the ascendant sign is a specific is in a specific Rashi, for example Taurus, its lord is Venus. Then the degree at rising sign, for example in 12 degree Taurus, okay, if it is 12 degree Taurus, it is in which Navamsha? It is in 4th Navamsha, right? So that will be Mesha, that means Aries. So in Aries rising, this 12 degree Taurus will be Aries rising. So the lord of that Navamsha means in D9, the ascendant, if you like to call it, okay, would be ruled by Mars, because Mars is ruler of Aries. So Lagna Lord is Taurus, Venus. The sign lord of Lagna is Taurus. Is Venus. That is Taurus sign, right? So Venus is the lord. And the Navamsa lord of the rising sign is Mars, because 12 degree Taurus is in Navamsa of Mars, that is in Aries. Okay. The third factor that we spoke about today is the Drekkan or Drekkan, that is in D3. Okay. What is the rising sign? So in this case, 12 degree, this is the second part, right? I mean, we divide in Drekkan in 3 parts, the 30 degree sign, 10, 10, 10, right? In Navamsa, it is 9 parts, 3 degree, 20 minutes each. So in Drekkan, it is in the second division, right? Second part. So from the sign, that is rising sign in this case, Taurus, the fifth sign, okay, 1, 5, 9. So if it is in the first Drekkan first, right, the same sign, second one is the fifth and third one is the ninth from it. So in this case, which is the fifth sign from Taurus? That is Kanya, that is Virgo, right? So who is the lord of Virgo? Mercury. So we have 3 planets now. Who is the ascendant lord? Venus. Who is the Navamsa rising lord? Mars. Okay, that is because Aries is in the Navamsa rising. And who is the Drekkan rising lord? Mercury. Okay. So these 3 planets, they need to cooperate for the person to have everything in life. Sure, there are planets, there are bhavas, the aspects and everything, okay, but the structure of the chart is what I am focusing in this video. Okay, now the problem here is Mars and Mercury, they are not friends. So is this a huge problem? No. You also have a temporal friendship that is called Tatkalik Maitri. Okay, so if a planet is placed 3 signs previous or 3 signs ahead, okay, then they are kind of, temporal friends. In the chart, they will still cooperate. Okay, so you need that kind of a cooperation across these 3 main stakeholders. Now, what is the difference between these 3 guys? What individually they show? Remember one thing. The strength of Lagna Lord is the most important thing. And now it needs support from these 2 guys. Okay. The Navamsa rising Lord, in this case, in our example, Mars, and the Drekkan rising Lord, in our case, is Mercury. So these 3 become very important planet in laying the boundaries of the success and happiness in life. Now, which is which? Lagna represents the reality, okay, whether it is materialistic reality and otherwise, the strength of the chart and everything. So it has got a lot to do with the strength of the ascendant lord, the Lagna Lord. What is in one sentence, what is the significance of the Navamsa rising lord? That is Mars here. The strength of Mars and the way it is disposed with respect to the ascendant lord will decide the overall comfort and happiness in life. Comfort doesn't mean huge property and wealth. It would support obviously, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It would mean the overall happiness, if you like, the how much blessed the person is. These are the boundaries. That doesn't mean that if the planet is not very strong, it requires the other planets and the other things in the life to really push beyond the usual limits. Going the extra mile is what is very critical here, right? Otherwise, you have a natural thrust in life. Some people have this cool life, right? I mean, just with average efforts, they get a lot of things. You must definitely look at the person's Navamsa rising lord. If the person is overall calm, quiet and happy. So happiness and comfort is something which is really the limits are set by that. Okay, so if the person is highly motivated and all these things, okay, that we talk about the chase double and all that for retrograde. So this, the person can push the limits, but there is always, doing things the easy way and the hard way. So if the Navamsa rising lord, okay, is well disposed, aspected by benefics and well placed, then there is a natural ease in life as far as the mental, what do you call, state of mind is concerned. The person is not generally stressed out in life. Okay. Now the next one is Drekkan Lord. Now Drekkan Lord is of the Navamsa, Drekkan rising. So what is the in D3? What is there in Lagna? If you are looking at the software, okay. So D3, D9, these are not for analysis like normal charts. I've done many videos before on that. Okay, since like 2-3 years, if I remember correctly, I've been talking about it. So that is something different. Okay, these charts are not meant for analysis like this. Okay. Coming back to this equation that we are talking, you have this Lagna Lord, then you have this Navamsa rising Lord, and then the Drekkan rising Lord is about the fame, the status, the victories, as people define the confrontationist situation, including the physical context. Remember, Drekkan is very important in the physical context. Okay, that's important Varga to look at. So now they support each other. Okay, now too much of materialistic possession is also supported by the strength of the Drekkan Lord. Okay, the Drekkan rising Lord. Okay, so this is the role. First, you have the materialistic possession, and anything, the entire volume is kind of decided by the Lagna Lord, the strength of Lagna Lord. Now, how much the person can utilize that to be happy and comfortable in life, to have a smooth life. How smooth the life is, right? It's always relative, it's comparative. That you see by the strength of the rising Navamsa Lord and the influences on that. We would want benefic planets influences on that. Okay, and that you see from D1. Okay, the main Rashi chart. That's the chart you analyze. Okay, then as I said, the Drekkan Lord. The Drekkan Lord is very simple. It's about what value you are to other people in in good or bad sense. Okay, so the fame, the status, name, as I said. So these three are very important pivots in every chart as far as the structure of the chart is concerned. This is the first use, I would say, of this thing, of these three concepts. Then of course there are a lot of other applications, both in analysis and in predictions. Okay, different people have different theories, but as I keep on saying, don't ignore the platform in which all the charts are going to play. This is the platform we are talking, the structure of the chart. If you ignore these basics in the chart, then everything looks fine, but then just some kind of a weakness somewhere. So these are the gaps. So if these are huge gaps, so nothing else would work out in the life. So it is not that everything starts and gets finished with these three stakeholders, which we just discussed about, but they really lay down the structure. Now to break the shackles, one really has to work very hard. That means it's not so smooth and sweet that otherwise people expect in normal circumstances. So this is the use of the Lagna Lord, the first hand use of Lagna Lord, the Navamsa rising Lord, and Drekkan rising Lord. Okay, so I would love to listen to your experience of these planets, and as usual I would love to interact with you. Thank you.